I have been researching this for weeks, and what I found genuinely surprised me, because here is what is happening to millions of Americans over 60 right now. They are doing everything right. They heard the advice. They increased their protein, more chicken, more eggs, more Greek yogurt, and they are still losing muscle, still struggling to get up from a chair the way they used to, and they cannot figure out why, so they eat more protein, and it still does not work. Here is what nobody is telling you. The problem is not how much protein you are eating. The problem is that after 60, your muscle cells have stopped responding to protein the way they used to. Scientists have a name for this. They call it anabolic resistance. And it changes everything, because anabolic resistance means this. You can eat 150 grams of protein every single day, and your muscles will still shrink, not because the protein is wrong, but because the biological machinery that turns protein into muscle tissue has become less sensitive, less responsive, like a lock where the key still fits, but the door no longer opens all the way. And here is what the research shows is missing from almost every conversation about muscle loss after 60. It is not more protein. It is the biological support system that makes protein actually work, and that support system comes from a specific group of fruits that most people over 60 are not eating enough of. I spent weeks going through peer-reviewed research, clinical trials, studies from institutions like Queen's University Belfast, UC Davis, King's College London, and the NIH to bring you what the evidence actually says, not what someone is trying to sell you, what the science actually shows. Today I am counting down 9 fruits, starting at number 9 and building to number 1. Each one more powerful than the last, and by the time we reach number 1, you will understand exactly why your muscles are struggling after 60, and exactly what the research says you can do about it. Let us start sarcopenia and anabolic resistance setup before we get to the fruits. You need to understand what is actually happening inside your muscles after 60, because without this context, the fruits will not make complete sense. Sarcopenia, that is the clinical term for the muscle loss that comes with aging, and it affects the majority of Americans over 60 to some degree. But here is what most people do not know about sarcopenia. It is not just about losing muscle. It is about losing the ability to build it back. A 2025 narrative synthesis published in peer-reviewed research put it this way. Anabolic resistance is characterized by the diminished muscle protein synthesis response to anabolic stimuli, and it represents the fundamental pathophysiological mechanism underlying age-related sarcopenia. Let me translate that into plain English. When you were 35, you ate a protein-rich meal. Your muscles absorbed those amino acids and built new tissue efficiently, reliably. When you are 65, that same meal triggers a much weaker response. Your muscles have become resistant, like a cell phone signal in a concrete building. The signal is still being sent, but the reception inside is poor, and a 2023 review from PMC confirmed the mechanisms driving this. Anabolic resistance, mitochondrial dysfunction, neuromuscular junction degeneration, chronic low-grade inflammation, all working together to make muscle retention harder with every passing year. Now here is the critical point. Protein and resistance exercise are still the primary drivers of muscle health. Nothing replaces them. Nothing, but the research shows that fruits, through specific biological pathways, can help improve the environment inside your muscle cells, so that the protein you are eating and the exercise you are doing actually works the way it is supposed to. Think of it this way. Protein is the construction material. Exercise is the work order. These 9 fruits are the conditions that allow the construction to happen. Better blood flow, better cellular energy, better recovery, all of it working together to support what protein and exercise are trying to do. Now let us count them down. Number 9, watermelon. Most people think of watermelon as a summer snack. Mostly water, mostly sugar, nothing serious. They are missing something important. Watermelon is one of the richest natural sources of a compound called L-citrulline, and L-citrulline has a specific relevance to muscle health after 60 that most people have never heard of. Here is the mechanism when you eat watermelon. The citrulline is absorbed into your bloodstream. Your kidneys convert it into L-arginine. L-arginine is then used to produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide relaxes and widens your blood vessels, and wider blood vessels mean something very specific for your muscles. Better nutrient delivery. After 60, your blood vessels naturally stiffen. No warning sign, no symptom, just the delivery system for your muscles, quietly failing. The cells lining them produce less nitric oxide on their own. Blood flow to your muscles decreases. And here is what nobody tells you about that. Your protein is arriving late to its own job, which means the amino acids from your protein meals are delivered more slowly, and in smaller quantities, to the muscle fibers that need them. Think of it like a highway if the highway narrows. The trucks carrying building materials get through, but slower and fewer of them. Citrulline from watermelon helps widen that highway, so more of what you are already eating actually reaches your muscles. The research from PMC on myoprotective foods in older adults confirms that vascular support, improving blood flow and nutrient delivery to working muscle, is one of the legitimate ways that fruit compounds can support muscle function indirectly. Citrulline fits squarely within that evidence base. Your practical action. 2 cups of fresh watermelon before or after physical activity. The rind contains even higher citrulline concentrations than the flesh. If you can blend it into a smoothie with the rind included, you get a meaningfully larger dose. And number 2 on this list takes this even further. It helps you absorb more from the protein you are already eating. That one surprised me. Number 8, papaya. Papaya is one of the most underrated fruits for people over 60, and the reason is not exotic. It is practical. As we age, our stomach produces less acid, our pancreas releases fewer digestive enzymes, our gut lining absorbs nutrients less efficiently. The result, a significant portion of the protein you eat, is never fully broken down into the individual amino acids your muscles need. It moves through your system, partially digested, and the building blocks your muscles are waiting for never fully arrive. Papaya contains a digestive enzyme called papain. Papain helps break down protein in the gut, improving the completeness of digestion and increasing the amino acid yield from the meals you are already eating. The research on myoprotective foods published in PMC confirms this practical logic. Impaired protein digestion and absorption is one of the documented mechanisms behind sarcopenia in older adults. Anything that improves digestion completeness directly supports better amino acid availability for muscle repair and maintenance. Papaya also provides meaningful vitamin C, approximately 90 milligrams per cup, which contributes to the collagen synthesis that maintains your tendons, the connective tissue infrastructure that every muscle fiber depends on. More on why that matters when we get to number 1, your practical action. 1 to 2 cups of fresh or frozen papaya daily, particularly effective when eaten alongside a protein-rich meal. The papain works on the protein in that same meal, improving the amino acid yield from what you are already eating. Number 7, guava. This one surprises people. Guava is not as common in American households as oranges or bananas, but the nutritional case for it is hard to ignore. Here is the headline. Guava contains more vitamin C per serving than almost any other commonly consumed fruit. We are talking approximately 228 milligrams per cup. That is more than double what you get from an orange. And here is why that number matters more than most people realize. There is a difference between surviving on vitamin C and thriving on it. And vitamin C is not just an immune nutrient. For people over 60 who are trying to maintain muscle, vitamin C plays a specific structural role that most people do not know about. A landmark 2017 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition from Dr. Keith Barr's lab at UC Davis, supported by the National Institute on Aging, found that vitamin C plays a critical role in collagen synthesis, particularly in the tendons and connective tissue that support muscle function. Here is why this matters practically. Muscle strength is not just about the muscle fibers themselves. Your tendons connect muscle to bone. The extracellular matrix holds the muscle fibers together. The fascia surrounds and supports the entire structure. All of it is collagen-dependent. All of it requires vitamin C to be synthesized and maintained. After 60, this connective tissue infrastructure weakens, not suddenly, quietly, until one ordinary movement becomes the injury. That breaks your exercise consistency for months. Injury risk increases, and the structural framework that your muscle fibers depend on begins to deteriorate. Guava, with its exceptional vitamin C concentration, supports the collagen synthesis that keeps that infrastructure intact. The ADIT trial from Queen's University, Belfast, one of the most directly relevant studies for this age group, randomized 83 adults aged 65 to 85 to either 2 portions or 5 portions of fruit and vegetables daily for 16 weeks, and found that increases in fruit and vegetable intake raised plasma vitamin C levels significantly, and change in vitamin C was positively correlated with change in grip strength. Not a miracle result, but a meaningful signal from a real randomized controlled trial on real older adults. That vitamin C from fruit has a measurable connection to muscle function in people over 60. Your practical action: 1 cup of fresh guava daily, or guava juice if chewing is a concern. for those who find guava hard to source. Pair with citrus for a similar vitamin C effect. Number 6. Pomegranate. Pomegranate earns its place on this list through two pathways: vascular support and antioxidant defense, both directly relevant to muscle health after 60. Here is the vascular piece first. One of the documented mechanisms of sarcopenia is reduced blood flow to aging muscle tissue. Less circulation means less oxygen delivered, fewer amino acids arriving at the muscle cell, and slower removal of the waste products that build up during and after exercise. Here is what that actually means. Your muscles are running a repair operation with half the supplies. Pomegranate's polyphenol compounds, including punicalagins, have been studied for their effects on endothelial function, the health of the cells lining your blood vessels. Better endothelial function means better vascular tone, which means better blood flow, which means better nutrient delivery to your working muscles. The PMC review on myoprotective foods in adults over 50 confirms that vascular support is one of the legitimate biological pathways through which fruit compounds can support muscle function. Pomegranate fits cleanly within that evidence base. Now the antioxidant piece. After 60, chronic low-grade oxidative stress damages the signaling proteins inside your muscle cells. No pain, no alarm. Just slow, quiet damage to the machinery your muscles need to repair themselves, the proteins that receive the muscle-building signal, and translate it into actual tissue repair. Pomegranate's punicalagins are among the most potent antioxidant compounds found in any commonly consumed fruit. They help buffer the oxidative stress environment inside aging muscle, protecting the cellular machinery that supports repair. Your practical action: 1 cup of pomegranate juice or 1 cup of pomegranate arils daily. Look for 100% pomegranate juice with no added sugar. The whole fruit with arils gives you the fiber benefit alongside the polyphenols. Number 3 is coming soon, and it has 19 clinical trials behind it. Stay with me. Number 5, banana. Everyone knows bananas are good for you. Almost nobody knows the specific reason they matter for muscle after 60. And it goes much deeper than preventing cramps. Bananas are one of the richest fruit sources of potassium, approximately 420 milligrams per medium banana, and the NIH Office of Dietary Supplements confirms something important about potassium. It is not just an electrolyte. Potassium is essential for the electrical signals that fire every single muscle contraction. Here is the mechanism. Every time a muscle fiber contracts, sodium rushes into the cell to trigger that contraction. Potassium rushes out to reset the cell for the next one. This exchange happens millions of times during any physical activity, and it depletes potassium stores. When potassium is chronically low, your muscles cannot contract with full force. They fatigue faster, they recover slower, and the reduced contraction quality means less mechanical stimulus for the muscle to adapt and maintain itself. But here is the deeper mechanism that most people miss. After 60, the body tends toward a subtle shift in acid-base balance, driven by declining kidney function and typical dietary patterns. This mild metabolic acidosis promotes muscle protein breakdown and inhibits muscle protein synthesis. It is a slow chemical environment that works against you. Potassium acts as a buffering agent, helping shift the acid-base balance back toward neutral, reducing the acid-driven muscle breakdown, and creating a more favorable environment for muscle maintenance. The PMC review on Sarcopenia nutrition confirmed that impaired protein digestion and absorption and gut microbiota changes are among the nutritional mechanisms driving muscle loss. Potassium's role in maintaining the cellular environment sits squarely within the broader nutritional support picture. Your practical action: 1 banana before or after exercise, paired with a protein-rich food. Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or eggs. The carbohydrates in the banana also support the insulin response. That helps signal your muscles to absorb amino acids from that protein, making the combination more effective than either alone. Now we enter the top 4, and the next one addresses something almost no video on this topic ever mentions. Number 4, blueberries. Blueberries are familiar to most people as a health food, but the reason they belong on a muscle list for people over 60 is more specific than general antioxidant benefits. And it comes down to 3 things: inflammation, cellular energy, and something called the neuromuscular junction. Let us take them in order. First, inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the primary documented mechanisms of sarcopenia. A 2023 PMC review confirmed this directly. Inflammatory processes impair muscle protein synthesis and accelerate muscle protein breakdown. Blueberries are rich in anthocyanins, the compounds that give them their deep blue color, and anthocyanins have documented anti-inflammatory properties that may help buffer the chronic inflammatory environment that is working against your muscles every day. Second, cellular energy. The 2020 Systematic Review on Myoprotective Whole Foods, published in PMC, confirmed that mitochondrial dysfunction, reducing energy available for muscle repair and protein synthesis, is a central mechanism of age-related muscle loss. Blueberry compounds, including pterostilbene, have been studied for their potential effects on mitochondrial function, supporting the energy production that muscle cells need to power the repair process. Third, the neuromuscular junction. This is the one most people have never heard of, and it may be the most important of all. The neuromuscular junction is the connection point between your motor nerves and your muscle fibers. Every voluntary movement starts with a signal from your brain that travels to this junction and triggers the muscle to contract. After 60, these junctions naturally deteriorate, and muscle fibers that lose their neural connection cannot be voluntarily activated. They sit idle and eventually waste away, regardless of how much protein you eat. The PMC review on sarcopenia mechanisms confirmed that neuromuscular junction degeneration is one of the key molecular drivers of muscle loss in older adults. Blueberry compounds, through their antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, may help protect these junctions from the oxidative damage that drives this deterioration. Your practical action: 1 to 2 cups of frozen wild blueberries daily. Wild blueberries contain roughly double the anthocyanin concentration of cultivated varieties. Frozen retains all the bioactive compounds and costs significantly less than fresh. Add to Greek yogurt, smoothies, or oatmeal. Number 3, tart cherries. And this is where we get into some of the most direct exercise recovery evidence on this entire list. Here is the context. After 60, exercise-induced muscle damage takes longer to recover from. The soreness lasts longer. The strength reduction after a workout lasts longer. And if recovery is slow, you train less frequently, and less frequent training means less stimulus for muscle maintenance. Recovery is not a luxury. For people over 60, recovery is a central part of the muscle retention equation. Tart cherries have more direct exercise recovery research behind them than almost any other fruit on this list. A 2026 systematic review and meta-analysis published in Sports Medicine Open, analyzing 19 trials, found that tart cherry juice supplementation significantly improved muscle voluntary contraction recovery following exercise-induced muscle damage across multiple time points after exercise. The mechanism involves the anthocyanin and polyphenol content of tart cherries, which appear to reduce inflammatory markers and oxidative stress responses following exercise. A 2022 study published in PMC from the University of Exeter found that Montmorency cherry concentrate supplementation enhanced functional recovery from exercise through antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects in the muscle tissue itself. Now the honest caveat, which we always give you here. Most of this research has been conducted in athletic or recreationally active populations. Not specifically in adults over 60, but the biological mechanisms, inflammation reduction, oxidative stress buffering, are directly relevant to aging muscle, where both of those processes are chronically elevated. The gut-muscle axis research from King's College London, published in PMC in 2021, highlighted that chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the physiological factors underpinning anabolic resistance in older adults. Anything that demonstrably reduces inflammation markers supports the broader environment in which muscle protein synthesis can occur more effectively. Tart cherries have some of the strongest evidence for that. Of any fruit we are discussing today, your practical action: 1 tablespoon of tart cherry juice concentrate daily, or 1 cup of frozen tart cherries. Be aware that tart cherry juice products can carry substantial sugar loads. Choose unsweetened concentrate or whole frozen tart cherries, and pair with a protein-rich meal for maximum effect. Number 2, kiwi. Kiwi lands at number 2 for a reason that combines 2 of the most important mechanisms on this entire list: protein digestion and connective tissue support. Let us start with digestion. We established earlier that impaired protein digestion and absorption is one of the documented nutritional mechanisms behind sarcopenia. Kiwi contains a unique digestive enzyme called actinidin. Actinidin has been shown in research to improve the rate and completeness of protein digestion, working across the different conditions of the digestive tract, from the acidic environment of the stomach to the more alkaline environment of the small intestine. A review published in Advances in Food and Nutrition Research demonstrated that adding kiwi to a protein meal increased the rate and completeness of protein digestion. More amino acids were released from the food. More were absorbed into the bloodstream, and more were available for muscle protein synthesis. Think about what that means practically. You are already eating protein. Kiwi may help you get more out of the protein you are already eating, without changing anything else. Now the connective tissue piece. 2 kiwis provide over 100% of the daily vitamin C requirement. And as we established with guava, the AJCN 2017 study from Dr. Keith Barr's lab confirmed that vitamin C is essential for the collagen synthesis that maintains tendons, fascia, and the extracellular matrix that supports every muscle fiber. Kiwi gives you both mechanisms, better protein digestion, and structural connective tissue support, in a single small fruit. The PMC review on nutritional strategies for sarcopenia published in 2024 confirmed that impaired protein digestion and absorption is one of the nutrition-related mechanisms associated with the imbalance between muscle protein synthesis and muscle protein breakdown that drives sarcopenia. Actinitin from kiwi addresses this mechanism directly, making kiwi one of the most practically useful fruits on this entire list for people over 60 who are already prioritizing protein, but may not be absorbing it as efficiently as they once did. Your practical action: 2 kiwis eaten alongside your largest protein meal of the day. The actinitin works on the protein in that same meal, improving your amino acid yield from what you are already eating. Kiwi is also one of the easiest fruits to prepare. Slice in half, scoop with a spoon, done. And the #1 fruit for supporting muscle health after 60 is one that has been sitting in your kitchen your entire life. The orange. I know you were expecting something more exotic, but stay with me, because when you see the complete evidence picture for oranges, you will understand exactly why they earn the top spot. And it comes down to 4 things: the ADIT trial, vitamin C and collagen, hesperidin, and accessibility. Let us go through each one. First, the ADIT trial. This is the most directly relevant clinical trial on this entire list for our age group. Researchers at Queen's University Belfast ran a 16-week randomized controlled trial on 83 adults aged 65 to 85 who were habitually eating 2 or fewer portions of fruit and vegetables daily. Half continued their normal diet. Half increased to 5 or more portions daily. Fruit and vegetables were delivered to all participants free of charge, and compliance was monitored throughout. The result: the higher intake group showed significant increases in vitamin C biomarkers, and vitamin C change was positively correlated with grip strength change. Each extra daily portion of fruit and vegetables predicted approximately 0.49 kilograms of additional grip strength over 16 weeks. That is not a miracle claim. That is a real randomized controlled trial on real older adults, showing a measurable connection between increased fruit intake and muscle function. Oranges are one of the easiest ways to increase your daily fruit portions. Portable, no preparation required, affordable year-round. Second, vitamin C and collagen. An orange provides approximately 70 milligrams of vitamin C. And as we have established from the AJCN 2017 study, vitamin C is a critical cofactor for collagen synthesis in the tendons, fascia, and extracellular matrix that supports your muscle structure. Without adequate vitamin C, this connective tissue infrastructure weakens, injury risk increases, and the physical framework your muscles depend on begins to deteriorate. Oranges eaten consistently keep that vitamin C supply steady, day after day. Third, hesperidin. This is the compound that separates oranges from almost every other fruit on this list. Hesperidin is a flavonone found almost exclusively in citrus fruits, with the highest concentrations in oranges and tangerines. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Biochemistry and Nutrition found that hesperidin supplementation improved muscle function and reduced muscle fatigue in older adults. The improvements were attributed to enhanced mitochondrial function and reduced oxidative stress in the muscle tissue. And here is the mechanism that makes hesperidin particularly relevant to anabolic resistance. Hesperidin activates the AMPK pathway, the cellular energy sensor in your muscle cells. When AMPK is properly activated, it promotes mitochondrial function, increases fat-burning efficiency, and helps clear the toxic lipid byproducts that contribute to insulin resistance in aging muscle cells. Remember the lock with 2 keys we described earlier. Leucine from protein is one key, insulin signaling is the other. When muscle cells become insulin resistant, that second key gets weaker. The door does not open fully, and amino acids cannot be absorbed as efficiently. Hesperidin, through AMPK activation, may help restore that insulin sensitivity, making the muscle cell more responsive to the protein signal. This is the mechanism that most directly addresses anabolic resistance. The core problem we identified at the very beginning of this video. Fourth, accessibility. 2 to 3 oranges a day, every single day, will not strain your budget, will not disappear from shelves in winter. The best dietary habit is the one you can actually sustain, and oranges are the most sustainable, high-impact fruit habit on this entire list. A review published in the journal Nutrients found that hesperidin influenced both mitochondrial function markers and oxidative stress levels in muscle tissue, combined with the ADIT trial evidence on vitamin C and grip strength, and the NIH confirmation of fruit and vegetable intake supporting older adult muscle function. Oranges sit at the intersection of the strongest evidence, the most practical mechanisms, and the most accessible daily habit, which is why they are number 1. Your practical action: 2 to 3 whole oranges daily. Eat them whole rather than just drinking the juice. The white pith contains the highest concentration of hesperidin, and the fiber slows sugar absorption. If you prefer juice, include some of the pulp and squeeze them yourself when possible. Now let me show you what happens when all 9 fruits are working together in your body. The anabolic resistance that was blunting your muscle cells' response to protein is being addressed by hesperidin from oranges through AMPK activation. The chronic inflammation that was interfering with muscle protein synthesis is being buffered by anthocyanins from blueberries and tart cherries. Working through anti-inflammatory pathways, the mitochondrial dysfunction that was reducing cellular energy for repair is being supported by blueberry pterostilbene and hesperidin from oranges through mitochondrial function improvement. The protein digestion bottleneck that was wasting amino acids from your meals is being addressed by actinidin from kiwi and papain from papaya, 2 complementary digestive enzymes. Improving your amino acid yield from every protein meal. The blood flow restriction that was slowing nutrient delivery to your muscles is being supported by citrulline from watermelon and polyphenols from pomegranate, both supporting vascular function and circulation. The connective tissue infrastructure that your muscle fibers depend on is being maintained by vitamin C from guava, kiwi, papaya, and oranges. Supporting the collagen synthesis that keeps tendons and fascia strong. The potassium deficit that was impairing your muscle contractions is being addressed by banana, supporting the electrical signaling that fires every contraction, and the neuromuscular junction deterioration that was disconnecting nerves from muscle fibers is being buffered by the antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties of blueberries. 9 fruits, 9 biological pathways, all documented in peer-reviewed research, all working together to support the environment in which protein and exercise can do what they are supposed to do. After 60, remember, these fruits do not replace protein. They do not replace resistance exercise. Nothing does. But what the research shows is that fruits, through these specific biological pathways, can meaningfully support the system that protein and exercise depend on. You do not need to eat all 9 every single day. Rotate them across the week. Oranges, kiwi, and bananas are easy enough for daily use. Blueberries and tart cherries alternate as your recovery support. Watermelon and pomegranate when available. Papaya and guava as your micronutrient density additions. Variety and consistency. That is the principle. No single fruit does what all 9 together can support, but across each week, every pathway gets addressed. Every mechanism gets supported. I spent weeks going through this research because I wanted to bring you something real, not a miracle claim, not an invented expert, not a study that does not exist. Real trials, real institutions, real mechanisms. That is what you deserve. And that is what this channel will always deliver if this research helped you. Share it with someone over 60 who is eating more protein, but still losing muscle, and does not know why. They need to see this. Hit subscribe, because next week we are going into the research on the specific proteins that work best for muscle maintenance after 60, and what the science says about timing, amount, and which sources actually make a difference at this age. That one is going to surprise you too. See you then.